Hi, thank you for being here. My name is Bolling, and I'm an instructor here at Shine Yoga in Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm here with the owner, Kate Noble, and we will be doing a class together, leading you through a nice, gentle class, focusing on breath work, movement, and a little bit of meditation. Should any time that this class become too stressful or feel really uncomfortable, or you're experiencing shortness of breath or lightheadedness, maybe it's best to pause, rest, and should that not go away, seek the care of maybe contact your healthcare provider. Again, we are not offering this as medicine, and we hope that we keep the practice safe and accessible for everyone. So with that being said, let's take a comfortable seated position. It's always nice to elevate the hips slightly higher than off the ground. So a towel, a blanket, a pillow works really nice. And then we'll come to a comfortable seated space. I invite you to gently close your eyes or simply soften your gaze. Feel a connection to the surface upon which you sit. Begin to find and follow the flow of your breath. Noticing the way the inhalation is received and the exhalation is released. As you begin to notice the way the breath enters and leaves the body, making that connection to your physical structure. Begin to notice the architecture of your skeletal system, aligning the shoulders, pulling them up and over the hips, lifting and lengthening the sides of your waist. Lifting and lengthening the sides of your neck. Feeling the extension move up and out the crown of the head. Holding your body upright. Making that foundation, the ground that you sit upon, be one that is a place to receive nourishment. To feel the connection to the earth below. Breathe your breath into the space of your lungs, fully filling them up. Feel the body expand to the space around you. As you transition and exit the current of your everyday life and step into the flow of your breath, stepping into your practice, creating this sacred sanctuary, this safe space for yourself. Take pause in this moment, this respite from reality, this invitation, an opportunity to explore the resources that are within you, even if they have felt buried or hard to tap into. Give yourself permission to just follow the flow of your breath. Creating a metronome for your practice. Working to make the inhalation and the exhalation equal in length, equal in effort. Let's gently join our palms together. Feel the left and the right unite as they become one at heart center. Dropping the chin towards the chest, lengthening the back of the neck, releasing the ego. Just bowing down, honoring your practice, setting an intention for this time. Bringing a purpose will help make the experience more profound. This is a beautiful time to be brutally honest, to tap into the spaces that have felt tender or vulnerable, frustrated, angry. Breathe into that heart space and gently draw the scapula together. Your shoulder blades move towards one another, cradling the back of the heart so the front of the chest can open up. With your eyes still closed or the gaze softened, gently elevate and lift the eyes, the sight, so you're looking neither up nor down, rather out onto that distant horizon. Notice the ground, the roots that you create as you connect to the surface below you. Find the nourishment from that foundation. Pull it up through the spinal column, up and out, the crown of the head. Keep your focus out and in front of you on that distant horizon, disciplining your gaze, your drishti. And then soften the space around your eyes. Release the tension from your jaw. Shift that down to the pelvic floor, to the transverse abdominals, into the low belly, the space below your belly button, above your pubic bone. As you begin to tap into the sense of strength in that place, let the sweetness remain in the tops of your shoulders and begin to make that relationship of how you can move energy in your own body. You can take what was once tension and pull it into a space. Call upon it as a sense of support, of strength. Continue to follow the flow of your breath, guided by your intention. Heart nice and open, body nice and grounded. Gently opening your eyes, releasing the palms. Extend the arms out in front of you, place them forward, and then we'll release from our seated posture. And come sliding your blanket out of the way. Let's come to a comfortable tabletop position, neutral and on all fours. And we'll make sure that we place the knees directly below the hips and the wrists right underneath the outer bony part, the outer edge of your shoulders. Spreading the fingers wide, now feel the connection in the hands to the ground below you. Let's curl the toes under and align the ankles with the center of the back of the knees so they're not pulling in or extending too wide out. And with the toes curled under, elevate your sitting bones, lift the crown of the head with that breath in. And as you exhale, releasing the breath out, drop the chin towards your chest, rounding, really exaggerating the length in the spinal column. And then reversing that with the inhalation, moving through your cat-cow. At any time, if you'd like to extend the tops of the feet, lengthening the tops of the toes back, you may do so. It's always nice to get a little stretch in that area of the body. Beautiful. And then for this time, after you exhale, we'll come back to neutral. Lengthen the tops of the feet now back behind you if you haven't already. And circle through your hips and your neck and your shoulders, making loose and organic movements. Go ahead and break up any tension. Maybe move into any of those tender spaces. You've been pulled out of your normal routine or habits. Often we get new patterns and new habits that show up in the body. And so this is a good time to just loosen all that up. And then bringing it back to neutral, check in with the flow of your breath. Lift the back of the neck so the head is nice and long, crown of the head extending forward. Curl the toes back under, extend the hips back over the heels. Sliding them back, walking the arms and fingers way out in front of you, elevating through the center of the palms, pressing down through the tips of the fingers, hugging the forearms in, coming to the back of the heart, come to the scapula, really drawing that in. Take a full breath in. Let's lift the back of the head so that the weight of the skull is, some of that is alleviated. Beautiful, and the belly remains toned. And then let's take that forward back to neutral, planting the hands back down and lengthening the tops of the feet back. It might feel nice to gently tap them out. Beautiful. From there, let's extend the left arm forward, the right leg back, curling the toes under, and then lifting the right heel. Let's reach that leg back, keeping the pelvis nice and aligned, stable. And with your exhalation, let's bring the elbow in towards the knee. Inhale, go for length. Feel the breath be a guide to encourage that length through the body. And then as you exhale, resource the sense of strength that you have within. Stay grounded through that left shin and the right hand. And then keep following the flow of your breath. Embrace any of that wobbling as an invitation for exploring your stabilizing muscles. Beautiful. Let's do one more. After you hug the elbow in, let's release back to a neutral. Come off of the wrists and rest down onto your forearms. Beautiful. Let's slide the elbows back, aligning them underneath the shoulders, pressing down, bringing the palms together in that prayer position. Press evenly through the underside of the pinky, the underside of the hand, and as much as you squeeze in on the hands, press down. Stay connected through the forearms. And then curl the toes back under. Beautiful. Draw the navel in towards the spine, lengthen your tailbone, and then really feel into the scapula, melting the chest and the heart. Curl the toes under and elevate the hips with your inhalation. Lifting and lengthening, rise high onto the balls of your feet, lifting those heels. Beautiful. And then slowly lower the heels back in the direction of the ground. Bend into the knees and send the hips back over the heels. Stretch the fingers, separating the palms. Stretch the fingers way out in front of you. Full breath out, and then with your next breath in, let's bring it back to neutral tabletop. This time we'll take the right arm out and the left leg back. When you feel aligned through the hips and the shoulders, bringing them to a nice level plane, you can begin to add the extension, and then with the exhalation, drawing the elbow in towards the knee, reaching it long. Notice on the exhale, bring the elbow back in towards the knee. Notice the flow of your breath, synchronizing the movements with the breath. The inhalation takes you long, the exhalation pulls you back in. Continue to root through the right shin, the right top of the foot, that left hand, feeling that sense of stability. Once more, breathe into the space, go as long as you can, and with your exhalation, release the right hand and the left knee. This time, let's come back down to the forearms. Spin your palms to face up. Align the wrists with the center of the elbow, and the elbow directly below the shoulder. Let's lift and tone the low belly, creating a little bit of length in your back body. And then you might want to walk your elbows forward. We're going to come into a forearm plank, just to make sure you have enough space on your mat. Curling the toes under, walking the legs back behind you, one leg at a time, and then lifting the knees. Really drawing in through the inner thighs, lift the back of the head, lower the hips just slightly, keep the scapula drawing together, and then rest the knees down onto the mat. Go ahead and lay the whole body down onto the mat, the whole front of the body. Extending the arms out in front of you. Press the palms down flat, curl the toes under, and really lengthen the back of the legs. That'll lift the kneecaps. Keep the hands, for the purpose of this, flat. And really find the heels, that lengthen the heels. Push them back, hug the quadriceps around the femur bone. And then completely soften. Let the tops of the thighs go down, the tops of the feet extend back, and just kind of shake through the fingertips, the whole body, like a little wiggle, like a snake. Beautiful. And just kind of loosening that up. And now let's extend the arms out wide in a T-like formation, reaching them out. Once again, coming to the tips of the fingers. Feel the elbows lift and elevate, bending in them slightly. Lift and elevate them up towards the ceiling, and you'll feel that roll the head of the shoulder down. Now, scoop the elbows underneath, and then feel the head of the shoulders lift and rise. Let's hold that, drawing the scapula together. Let's come from the scapula, let's move into the transverse abdominals. Pull that area up and in, and then press firmly down through the tops of the feet. Try to spread the toes as wide as you can. Create a contraction. Find the flow of your breath. Feel all that muscular energy hugging in, and then release it completely, lowering the left ear onto the mat. And once again, just sort of jiggle the body. See if you can shake it. I always say like a plate of Jell-O being slid. Try to make your buttocks as jiggly as you can. And then rest for a moment. Let's come back to the flow of our breath. Let's place one hand on top of the other and rest the forehead so the back of the neck can get some length, elbows out wide. Soften the tops of the shoulders. Scan the body and soften completely. Just notice how this feels different than when you were hugging in and engaging. And the resources that the body has within. Let's come back to the intention. Let's come back to a fluid, flowing breath, one that doesn't feel labored. And then think of your drishti, working some of the disciplines of the practice. With your next breath in, draw in up through the pelvic floor, the low belly. Slide the hands towards your chest. Exhale and hold into that space. Curl the toes under. With your inhale, go ahead, bend into the knees and rise back up to your neutral tabletop position. From neutral tabletop, let's walk the hands over to the left. Extend that right arm way out in front of you. And then with your exhale, shift the hips back down and over towards the right. Inhale slightly, come out of it, create like a lift, and then exhale, move deeper and into it. Let's do that 3 more times with the flow of your own breath. Begin to connect the movements with the breath. Begin to create that dance, that metronome, so you can establish a rhythm. That rhythm will serve as a resource for you. And then after that 5th one, just hold for a full breath in, full breath out. Come back to the pelvic floor, come back to the low belly. As you resource those spaces, bring your body back to neutral tabletop, finding the center of the mat. Once again, let's curl the toes under, shift the hips back, stretch and reach, lengthen the arms long. Inhale and bring that forward. Wrists over, shoulders over the wrists, elbows over the wrists, opening that up into a modified upward dog where we keep the pelvis slightly lifted and tone, feel that, and then exhale, shift that back. Let's do that 3 more times. Inhale, catch yourself by pressing down through the tops of the feet, pulling the low belly in, and then release that back as you exhale. Once more. So it's like a modified toning upward facing. Beautiful, that looks great. And release with the exhale. With your inhalation, draw the navel in towards the spine, pull yourself back up to neutral. With your exhalation, walk the hands over to the right, extending that left arm forward. And then lift and rise on the inhale. Come slightly up and out of it. Let the exhalation carry you into the space of the pose. Begin to move with your breath and Create that rhythm. Let it become the dance of your choice, following the flow of your breath, resourcing the space of your lungs, fully filling them with the inhalation, completely releasing with the exhalation. After this next one, let's hold for a full breath cycle, inhaling completely. Exhaling, let the body get weighty and heavy. And then as you inhale, feel the toning of the low belly. Resource that space as you come back to neutral. We're going to move from our neutral tabletop into our first downward facing dog, curling the toes under. Elevate the hips, keep the knees bent, and lift the heels as high as you can. Really move them in the direction of the ceiling. Keep the knees bent. Press your pubic bone back, elevating the sit bones, and then draw the low belly in. Work to lengthen the tailbone. Beautiful. And then work the legs towards that straight position, lowering the heels in the direction of the floor. Let's take a few breaths, few complete breath cycles in our downward facing. Scan your body, feel the connection now between the hands and the feet to the ground below you. Find the flow of your breath. Resource the spaces that you can strengthen and try to soften the ones that we want to release the tension from. From your downward facing dog and your next inhalation, let's sweep the right leg high into the sky. As the leg lifts up, make sure you drop the outer edge of that right hip so that it doesn't elevate too high. Beautiful. The leg will not extend as far up, but it will keep the hips in a good space. And then slowly lower that right leg down to meet the left. Shift the weight forward, come into a high plank. Bring it into a more neutral space, and then exhale back into your downward facing. With your inhalation, let's lift the left leg. Sweep it high. Check the outer edge of the hip. Beautiful. Keep grounding down through the base of that pointer finger, the base of the thumb, and then with your exhalation, lowering the left leg to meet the right. Inhale, the shoulders forward, come to your high plank, extending the crown of the head long, lifting those heels, squeezing the inner thighs in. With your next exhalation, shift the hips back, downward facing. Let's do that 2 more times. The inhalation will carry you forward to a high plank. The exhalation will shift you back into your downward facing. Beautiful. Finding the flow of your breath, working the breath and the movements. Beautiful. After this downward facing, let's shift back forward to high plank. Drop down to the knees, slide the hips back over the heels. Full breath in, this time hold at the top of the inhalation. Create that tension, and then part your lips and move the breath out. Let all of the tension, the pressure, let it be released. Let's do that 2 more times. Fully filling the lungs. Feel the rib cage expand. Hold. And then as you release, let the body become weightier. Let the tension melt away. Feel the connection to the surface below you. Once more, with the flow of your own breath. After you release that exhalation out, find the strength, resource the abdominal muscles as you feel them wrap around the spinal column. Slide the shoulders forward, back over the wrists, coming to your neutral tabletop. When you're ready, from neutral tabletop, let's lift and elevate into our downward facing. Exhale and settle into the space, and then with your inhalation, sweep the right leg back up. This time, bending the knee, let's bring that right knee all the way forward and plant the right foot in between the hands. Bring the hands now up to the right thigh, just above the knee. And slide that left foot back, make sure you have enough space, and then lift the left heel. Let's work the left heel up over the ball of the foot. Squeeze in through the upper inner thighs, and then act like you were gonna separate the feet apart. Feel that contrasting energy. With your next breath in, let's align the shoulders, stack them up over the hips, pull the low belly in, extend the arms out. From there, inhale, let's lift and elevate. Exhale, work both legs towards straight, lower the arms. Give that a little break. And then with your inhalation, let's move back into that. Let the breath carry you into the pose. So instead of pushing or pressing into the postures, let the breath just move you into the space. Maybe some of these spaces feel foreign. Maybe you haven't been practicing, or maybe your practice has been different. This time, let's hold. For 3 breaths, hold the pose steady. Find the spaces, connect to the ground below you. Resource the strength of your stomach, the flow of your breath, the softness of the space around your eyes, and the drishti, the focus that you bring. After that next exhalation, let's release the arms down as you breathe the breath out. And then inhale, step that right foot back, coming into your downward facing. Inhale, shift forward, high plank. Exhale, drop knees, send hips back over heels. Inhale to your upward facing. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pause here. When you're ready to continue, it'll be the second side, left leg. With the inhale, let the breath carry the leg up. Exhale, step it forward. Settle, and when you're ready, bring the hands to the top of the thigh. And with your exhale, connect to the space that you're in. With the inhale, begin to stack the pieces. Pull the shoulders back over the hips, extend the arms out. With your next breath in, maybe you sink a little deeper, working that left thigh towards parallel. Exhale and straighten the legs, lower the arms. Now we're adding a little movement. Feel how it is nice to shift energy and then release out of it. Almost like a little warm-up. We move with the breath. And then we're gonna hold the pose. So this time, as you exhale, let's hold the pose. Beautiful. Continue the flow of your breath. Stack the left knee over the left ankle. Pulling that right hip forward, the left hip slightly back, hugging in through the inner thighs, like you had an imaginary golf ball there. And then when you're ready to release, as you exhale the breath out, lower the hands back to the ground. Step the left foot back to meet the right. Let's bring it forward. Inhale to your high plank. Exhale, lower the knees, shift the hips back. Let's take a full breath here. Completely inhale, and then release the exhale. And then prepare for movement. On your inhalation, bring it forward, upward facing. With your exhale, downward facing. Pause for a moment and downward. Find your breath. Resource the spaces of strength that you have, the low belly, scapula drawing together. Inhale, take the right leg back up to the ceiling. Exhale, bring that right foot all the way forward. The hands can come to the top of the thigh, or you can elevate the arms all the way up. Modified warrior one, left heel lifted. From there, bring the hands together in a prayer position in front of heart space. Interlace the fingers, elbows out wide, rest the hands to your heart. Trust mudra. And then spin that left foot. Bring the left foot towards parallel, towards the short side of the mat. Hands to the heart, sink into that right knee, stack the knee joint over the ankle joint, tuck the right butt cheek under ever so slightly, and then To your level of comfort, sink into the space, but then also draw a lift up and in, that nourishment from the floor. With your next inhalation, open the arms, release that, and take your gaze out. Here's our warrior two. Warrior pose. Let's get fierce in that space, looking out onto that horizon, but there's a sweetness to the muscles of the face. The fierceness comes in the belly, sinking a little deeper into the pose if that's available. And then with your next breath in, let's inhale, lift and rise, straighten that leg, spin the left arm forward, lift that left heel, bend into the right, inhale the arms up overhead, exhale, release the hands to the ground. Step the right foot back to meet the left. Catch yourself in a high plank with your inhalation. And then with the exhalation, drop the knees, shift the hips back over the heels. Full breath in and a full breath out here. Take as much time as you need. And then when you're ready, come back to the intention. Come back to the physical part of your body. Come back to your breath. Let the other stuff stay outside of the space of your practice. And when you're ready, inhaling, let's bring it forward. Upward facing, the exhale carries you into the downward facing. Stay in downward facing as much time as you need. And then when you feel ready, inhale, lift and lengthen that left leg. Get the inspiration, exhale, pull it forward. Plant the foot and begin to bring the body upright with the inhale. You can bypass stabilizing through the thigh, or if you need that space for resource, please use that. Beautiful. Here, we'll bring now the hands together in a prayer position, lower them through towards heart center. Come back to the scapula, the back of the heart. Feel that area cradled and protected so the front can have the freedom to open up and breathe. And then from there, spinning that right heel. Ground down, feel the placement of the foot, and then shift into the left knee. Align it over the ankle. Come back to the right thigh, roll that thigh down and inward, and send that energy then out through the back of that right heel. Lift and spread both sets of toes, and then let the toes gently fall, but the feet feel firm. From this trust position, we're gonna open up and get fierce in our warrior two. Looking out, facing the obstacles that lie ahead. Try to find a sweetness in that space. Find where you are fierce in the low belly, pelvic floor. Don't be afraid, that fearless gaze out. And then when you're ready, inhale, lift, straighten, spin that right arm forward, lift that right heel. Inhale, take the arms up. Exhale, release the hands all the way back down. Step the left foot back to meet the right. Inhale, bring the shoulders forward over the wrists. Exhale, drop to the knees. Shift the hips back over the heels. Let's pause here for a moment. Take as many breaths as you need. Fully filling the lungs on the inhale, maybe even holding, creating a slight amount of tension so you can relate to the experience of releasing that tension on the exhalation. Keep that in a physical experience so you really can identify with how the stress and the tension can exit the body when you consciously move it out. And then when you're ready, preparing for movement again, first tone the pelvic floor, tone the low belly, stack the pieces, bringing the shoulders forward over the wrist, open it up, breathe into the upward facing. Exhale, let that carry you into your downward facing. When you're ready, with your inhalation, let it bring that right leg all the way up. And then exhale, step that right foot all the way forward. Coming upright with the Hands up towards the ceiling. That left heel still lifted. This time we're open up on the exhale into warrior two. Inhale, spin the right forearm up, place it onto the thigh. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lengthen the left arm forward. Spin the pinky towards the ground. Beautiful. To open up the head of the shoulder. Lower the right rib cage and lift the left. Really creating length in that right underside of the body as well. Beautiful. And when you're ready, let the inhalation bring you up and out of that pose. Lift that right hand, straighten that right leg. Exhale, back into your warrior two. Release the left arm, bring it up and around and lower all the way back down to the ground, stepping the right foot back to meet the left. Inhale, forward, high plank. Exhale, release, drop the knees, shift the hips back, child's. When you're ready, with the inhalation, let it carry you forward into your upward facing dog. The exhalation will bring you back to your downward facing. Left leg, the inhalation will carry it up, and the exhalation, step it through. Coming upright through a modified warrior one, let the exhalation open you up into your warrior two. Beautiful. Inhale, spin the left hand up, bend the left elbow, place it onto the thigh, and then when you're ready, sliding that right arm as far forward as you can. Drop the pinky towards the floor, the thumb slightly up. That'll open up the head of the shoulder. Draw the low belly in, really creating a little length in the tailbone. And then feel the outer edge of that right foot, the underside of the left. Lift and spread both sets of toes. Beautiful. On your inhalation, then lift and rise, come up and out, straighten the left leg, straighten the left arm. And with your exhalation, let that carry you all the way back down to the ground. When you're ready, stepping the left foot back to meet the right. Inhale forward, coming to your high plank. Exhale, drop knees and take a rest in your child's pose. Let's find the flow of our breath. Let's this time walk the hands back and make a little pillow underneath your forehead, placing one hand on top of the other and then resting the forehead down. Fully fill the lungs with your inhalation and feel the rib cage expand and widen. Become heavier as you exhale. Let whatever needs to surface, give it permission to be released. Give it the freedom to move. If something feels closed, maybe it's an opening. There's pent-up frustration, maybe you need to release. You let this time be an offering, being a time to come back to the intention. From this space, we'll gently come back to the strength, resource the low belly. Pull the energy to that place so it doesn't get congested in the shoulders. And then with the lightness in your shoulders, extend the arms back out in front of you. Swing the legs out to one side and release onto your sitting bones. You might want to bring your heels forward towards the front of the mat, bend into the knees, and then scoot your body forward so you're positioned nicely. From here, let's ground down through the heels, pull the toes up, fan them out like a peacock's tail, and then place an imaginary block in between your knees, your inner thighs, extend the arms forward. Resource the strength of your low belly, really finding that space. Keep the face as soft as you can. And here's a challenge, right? As we lower down, draw the navel in towards the spine. Hold the energy. Resource the strength of your stomach as you slowly lower, as slow as you can, down to the ground. Notice when your mind wanders. Notice what shows up, what words, the language that appears. When the shoulder blades hit the ground, let's inhale, reach the arms way back behind you, and extend the legs way out in front of you. Lengthen the tops of the toes, circle through the wrists, circle through the ankles, one direction and then the other. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, extend the arms out wide like a T, bend the knees, feet flat onto the mat, knees up towards the ceiling. Just take a moment here and let the legs gently sway left and right. Allow the movements to loosen up any of the hard edges, any tension that might occur in the low back. Might feel nice to sort of linger in one space if there's any places that you really need to tend to. Let this be an invitation. And then when you're ready, coming back to center when you've balanced that equally on the left and the right side. And from there, let's take the right ankle, cross it over the left knee, just past the knee joint, so the ankle joint is not compromised. Flex into the right foot, pulling the toes back towards the shin, fan them out ever so slightly, and then realign through the shoulders, realign through your hips, bring as much symmetry as you can between those two spaces. And then energetically move the right knee away from you, and then just notice how that feels. If that's shifted, if sensations arise, let's breathe into those spaces. Don't dance away from them. Stay present with them so you can nurture them with your breath. And if you'd like to create more challenge, you can elevate the left knee, bringing the knee in towards the chest. I like to lift the left ankle in alignment with the knee joint in a nice right angle. It holds a sense of support, so that's always an option. If you'd like, you can interlace the hands, taking the right hand in between the space of the legs and wrap them around the back of the left leg. And if that creates too much tension on the shoulders or lifts the back of the neck up too much, you can also avoid doing that and let the arms come out wide. That can be your choice. Then as we hold this position, let's find the flow of our breath. Gently close your eyes or just soften your gaze. Let the places that are speaking to you, let them have a voice. And then can you find the resources within you? Sending your attention in the most loving way. Calling upon the strength of your breath. Accessing the low belly if you need to contract, making the contraction make sense instead of storing it as tension. And then when you're ready, you can release the hands. Slowly lower the left foot to the floor, still accessing the low belly. When the foot hits the floor, let there be a softening. And then slide the right knee all the way over the left. Beautiful. You may have to change the position of the left foot, so make any adjustments. And then with your exhalation, gently let the knees fall over to the left. Slide the right arm in closer to your spinal column. Let there be a softening. Let all that tension be released from the shoulder so the head of the shoulder can roll back and move in the direction of the floor. And then when you feel safe in that space, if you want to begin to elevate the right arm back out, you can do so. Only to where you feel that slight amount of tension created. And it's enough that it shows up and you notice it, so you can tend to it and cradle it with your breath. Be gentle the language you use as you navigate your body. Dismiss the thoughts, especially the ones that don't serve you. Be with the flow of your breath. Be in the space of your body. When you're ready, before you move out of this position, call upon the strength of your stomach. First, source that space, engaging the stomach muscles to help lift the weight of the legs. As you breathe back to center, make any little adjustments and then uncross the right leg from the left. Walk both legs out in front of you. Ground down through both heels, pull the toes back, interlace the fingers, bend the elbows out wide, spin the palms up towards the ceiling, and then reach the arms back behind you. Ground down through the heels, the calf, the back of the legs. Draw the navel in, lengthen the sides of the waist, the sides of the neck, and then release all of that. Let the arms come out wide, let the knees plop open, let the feet just splay. Take a breath here. Exhale completely, and then with your next inhalation, we'll prepare for the second side, bending the knees, walking the feet in. Crossing that left ankle just past the right knee joint, flexing into the foot, adjusting in the hips and the shoulders, making sure that those feel nice and aligned, taking the time to create symmetry as much as you can. And then begin to move that left knee away from the body. It doesn't have to be a large movement. It can almost just be an energetic effort. And then some sensations might show up. Make sure you breathe into those spaces. If you'd like a little more, you can bring the right knee in towards the chest. You might explore aligning the ankle joint with the knee joint as an option. Interlacing the hands around the back of the leg are also an option. And that left knee keeps moving away from the body as the right knee keeps hugging in. Continue to experience the flow of your breath. Soften the space around your eyes. Let there be a blanket of gravity placed across your chest and just soften under that weight like a security blanket. Continue to follow the flow of your breath, especially if you get distracted by your thoughts, always coming back to the inhalation and the exhalation. Scanning the body, softening the space around your eyes. Release the tension from your jaw. One more breath in this space. And then call upon the strength of your stomach before you release out of the pose to help support moving the right leg back down. This time we'll slide the left knee all the way across the right thigh. And just notice your hips and your shoulders. Make any adjustments that you need to. And then with your next exhalation, gently let the knees fall over to the right. That left arm, slide it in close towards your body. Explore what that does to the shoulder. And then if you'd like, you can extend that left arm back out or leave it in close. The palm faces up. And then notice where you are stopped, how those sensations might show up, and how you tend to those sensations. It's the language that you use when you talk to yourself, to your own body. about your own body. Let's make sure it's the language we would use as if we were speaking to a small child, that it feels safe and appropriate. And just breathing into your body, resting in the space of your practice. And then before you exit this posture, come to the center of your abdomen. Feel the muscles embrace around the spinal column, that resource of strength that you have within you. Tap into that to help support moving the weight of the legs as you lift the knees, and then uncrossing the left leg from the right. And just make any adjustments you may need to restore that symmetry in the body, knowing that it will never be perfectly symmetrical. And then when you're ready, walking the feet a little bit further out in front of you. Extend it, go ahead and extend them long. Let's do that. Lengthen the tops of the toes. And open the fingers out wide, make jazz hands, and then circle. Release all that tension, circle through the wrists, circle through the ankles. Beautiful. And then bending the knees once again, walk the feet in slightly. Let's walk the feet out wider than our hips and separate the knees. Drop both knees over to the left. Elevate the right hip so it's lifting up, encouraging the stretch to move down the front of the thigh. Beautiful. Breathing in, lengthening the front of that right thigh, and then bring that back to center. Just gently rock the knees left and right, just kind of wiggle, undoing that twist from that side. We'll now kind of bring the body back to neutral before we take it to the other side. And then really breathing into that left hip, encourage it to rise so the front of that left thigh stretches. And then when you're ready, releasing out of that, bringing the soles of your feet together. Let the knees open out wide. Bring the arms to a comfortable position. Might feel nice to rest them on the body, one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. It might feel nice to rest them just down by the sides. Cactus, overhead. Maybe you explore a couple of those. In this vulnerable space, come back to your breath. Come back to the ground below you. Breathe your body into the space around you, this vast space. Begin to let the walls dissolve. And set the systems aside, the obligations and the pressures, let them release. Follow the flow of your breath. Let it move through your body, encouraging any of the contractions that show up. Give them permission to release. Before we come up and out of this pose, let's once again resource the strength of our abdomen, the strength of our stomach, that space within us. Call upon that area by toning the muscles in your abdomen to help lift the weight of the knees as you draw the legs back together. honoring any of those delicate areas, gently rocking the legs side to side. And then when you're ready, releasing and preparing for the final resting space, that sweet place of Shavasana. And then let's move through the body as we lay it to rest. Finding the crown of the head, encouraging it to move back, lengthening the back of the neck, slightly dropping the chin just slightly. And then soften, release any of that effort. Feel from the crown of the head all the way down to your pubic bone, dividing the body left and right. Notice the left eye in relation to the right eye. The left ear to the right ear. The nose, the mouth. Release any tension from the jaw. Let that release ripple down the sides of the neck, sweeping across the tops of your shoulders. Let there be a softening. Once again, laying that imaginary blanket over your chest. Softening under the weight of that blanket. Becoming heavier. Let the fingers feel light. The knees splay outward. And the feet follow the knees. No tension in the toes. Space. Give yourself permission to just be. Trusting the breath will occur and the body is held. And for this moment, you are safe. Resting in the sanctuary of your practice. Ever so gently. Coming back to the flow of your breath. Letting the inhalation bring you back into your body. With your next breath in, visualizing a golden light entering in with the inhalation. Let the exhalation carry that light throughout your body, illuminating any of the dark places, shining light onto those areas in those places. Let that light inspire the prana, that life force within you, activating little movements in the fingers and in the toes. With each breath in, that light becomes a little brighter. The body begins to feel more alive. From the tips of the fingers and the bottoms of the toes, let those little movements inspire larger movements, taking it into the wrists, into the ankles, circling in those spaces. From the wrist and the ankles, hinging into the knees and the elbows, bending into those places, eventually wrapping the arms around your body. If it's available, drawing the knees in towards your chest. Taking any last little movements before you roll over to one side. And as you roll over, releasing what no longer serves you as you come into this fetal position, this representation of a rebirth, a new beginning. Give yourself permission to reconnect to that intention, the one that you set at the beginning of class. Let that intention be deposited in the bank of your heart, and let that deposit fill you up with the inspiration to carry on. Once again, resourcing the strength of the stomach. Call upon that space to help lift you, bringing you back to a seated posture. Connecting once again to the surface upon which you sit, creating those roots and letting them anchor you in a foundation that feels solid and stable, one that is nourishing and provides the resources that you can call upon. We'll join by bringing the hands back together, the left and right unite at heart center, dropping the chin towards the chest, bowing down, offering this gentle gesture of gratitude. Thanking yourself for this time, this opportunity to step away from the reality of your everyday life so you can step into the sanctuary of your practice. To call upon the resources and the tools that you have within you to realign with them and reconnect to them in a way that is empowering, that is soothing, that is a reminder that you are able and that you have a light and it still shines bright. Thanking yourself and the wisdom of the practice, this ancient practice that we can relate to our modern day realities. Just know the light that shines within me bows in honor to the beautiful light shining inside of you. Thank you for taking this time. Thank you for finding your light. Thank you for sharing it and shining it bright. Thank you for your practice. Thank you for your being. Namaste.